I'm Jay Reed and welcome back to Black Horse Garage here in Bridgeport, Connecticut. Today we will look at a sports car, and what a sports car! A Ferrari F430 Spider. The F430 was made between 2004 and 2009 and is the successor and cousin of the Ferrari 360. It has the same basic chassis, roofline and doors of that car, but has an entirely new and much more powerful engine and significantly improved aerodynamics too. So how should we look at this 2006 car? Well, I say there are two ways of looking at it. You can consider that it is a car that has been superseded a couple of times by newer models and go down the path of diminishing returns as you seek your Ferrari hit in the most modern and expensive cars. Or you can take the rather higher road and take the view that it is classically and time-defyingly beautiful, with all the modern touches and performance you need and all the Ferrari style that just makes you feel like $1 million. Let's start inside. Sure, there's no GPS or 4K touch-sensitive information screens in this car, but then who cares? That's not the point of this car. And is anyone else a bit tired of manufacturers charging several $1,000s for something that is out of date in a year? Ferrari is flexing its heritage already with the leather on the seats of this car. It has been specified with the Daytona quilted seats, which hark back to the Ferrari Daytona of the late 60s and early 70s. And frankly, it never gets old. The lack of an ugly, ailing and outdated by the day infotainment system, in my opinion, is a positive plus point, and the interior is kept simple and chic. And let's remember that when they designed these cars, there was no such thing as GPS or infotainment. And let's not forget the Manettino switch here on the steering wheel, which allows you to choose comfort or driving God modes, depending on how brave you are feeling in the moment. This was new for the Ferrari F430. Who needs music or a large screen when you've got Ferrari giving you all these features? You are driving art and history here, and these are the essentials of any Ferrari. You are in the club with this, no question. And before we go on, let me show you its party trick. Watch how the roof comes up automatically for when the weather might just catch you out. One push of the button and it's done. And then outside the car we get to the engine, and you can already see that Ferrari is bringing its timeless heritage to you through this glass screen. The engine is the centerpiece of the car and is on show for all to see. And whilst engines from most other manufacturers these days are encased in plastic materials, in this case, as only the Italians can, they made it stylish and a thing of beauty. This thing is a work of art. It also shows Ferrari coming of age too. This is a 4.3-litre V8 engine pushing out 483 brake horsepower. That's very nearly 100 bhp more than the Ferrari 360. And even by today's standards, this is no slouch either. 60 comes up in just 3.6 seconds on your way to over 190 miles an hour. And the 430 follows Ferrari's convention of updating its V8 cars mid-cycle. So the 430 here is the one to have. They are not the same cars, but the feature that both share for the first time is that you don't have to drop the engine every time you want to service it, even for a major service. So if you are holding back on a Ferrari purchase because of their fearsome reputation for financially crippling maintenance costs, this one might have you thinking again, because for less than half the price of a modern version of this car, the F8 Tributo, you get all this car and maintenance costs that you can probably afford to keep going. Up front, I must say, compared to its predecessor, the 360, Ferrari really prettied up the front end. This could be a modern Ferrari, and as we've seen, the engine is in the middle of the car, and so the front is also where we find the trunk. And it's quite a reasonable size, actually, I have to say. As you can see here, this particular car has got its squashy bag with its car cover inside it, which gives you an idea of the space in here. And some sports cars are squashy bag room only. This one, there is room for more than just that. Also, you've got the Ferrari air compressor if you do have a problem with your tires, and the toolkit here, which I want to show you. And I want to show you the toolkit because it really is exquisite. Leather straps keep it shut, and then you look inside, it's fully complete Ferrari branded tools. and it's a lovely thing to own and to see in a car like this. So, we see the point of this car, don't we? It is stylish, beautiful, and deserving of its place in the Ferrari firmament. Moreover, it makes you look beautiful, which in my case is quite some feat. So let's get some sun into our winter skin, shall we? And take this lovely Ferrari out on the road. So let's start this up and hear this Ferrari V8 wail. So, the Ferrari F430, and the first thing I feel is like $1 million. We are driving a Ferrari, the sun is shining, I have my sunglasses on, and I've had worse days, to be perfectly honest with you. But man, this is a nice car. We're sitting in a comfortable seat, and we can hear the glorious burble of that V8 in the exhaust behind us. And if I drop it down a couple of cogs, whoa, you can hear it burble and crackle and everything else, and what a treat. So this is quite a firm ride. The suspension is set up to be sporting, so as it rides, I would say pretty firm. But of course, the upside of that is that it handles well. So as we go around a corner, there is no problem in taking it at pretty much any speed in this. And the steering is nice and direct. This is in effect a little bit like a go-kart. You point and you shoot, and it flies away with quite a lot of power. Don't forget, we've got over 480 horsepower coming out of this V8, and my God, you feel it. There is plenty of power. The seats are firm and supportive. Certainly what you would expect from a Ferrari. Hold you in as you're going around the corners. They're nicely bolstered. But they also are holding up the pit of my back, which is, you know, I don't feel as if I'm slumping in this car. I'm nicely supported in a sporting seat, in a sports car. This is a sports car. This is not a Grand Tourer. This is an out-and-out sports car. And let's talk about that exhaust, shall we? It is ever present, I have to say, but it makes a fantastic sound, certainly when you get it at the higher revs. But to drive it, it is a brand new car. It might be 15 years old, but it certainly doesn't feel like it. Everything in it is absolutely spotless. There is not a mark on the car. Less than 8,000 miles on this particular car. And I think if you were to own it, it would be like owning a new one. So let's give it some of the beans and see what it sounds like. Wow, what a car! The V8 and that exhaust, the combination of that and this gearbox with the flappy paddles, I can drop it down very easily and we are off and away. And actually what I love about these aluminium flappy paddles here, which just are a thing of beauty, and they feel good to the touch, add to that Ferrari mystique and Ferrari magic. Otherwise, when you sit in this car, you really do feel like $1 million. There's leather everywhere, but there's also style everywhere. The rev counter is yellow. The wing mirrors are sculpted. And you can see the flow of the hood of the bonnet going down right in front of you. And as I said to you before, that burble of the exhaust is ever present, reminding you that you are driving not only a piece of art, but also a piece of engineering. And I'm going to push us into automatic mode now, to push us into full Boulevard cruising mode. We are now in auto mode on the gearbox. We have our roof down, and we're not being hooligans anymore. We're just taking it easy, floating along in our wonderful Ferrari. And the suspension is quite on the firm side of things. Remember, this is a sports car. Whilst we are doing a good job of Boulevard cruising, getting people to look at us in our bright red Ferrari, this is a sports car at the centre of its core. And the ride is on the firm side of things. Now, the upside of that, of course, is that it handles second to none. It is a proper sports car. Thank you very much indeed for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video and this collaboration with Black Horse Garage. If you have, give us a like and subscribe. Otherwise, we'll see you in the next one.